Member Jackson.
In relation to Jamra,
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
it's rehabilitation. So
Minister, my question is very simple. Page 46,008, where you spoke about, it speaks about entertainment facility development. Last presentation here, you made some announcement about Jam World. And I remember the former member of parliament banged the decks and said it was transformational. All I see growing over by Jam World is taller grass than I've ever seen before. So I look in the book, I don't see a capital listing here. So maybe, Minister, you can assist me to tell us what's where the transformation mentioned then has reached.
Thanks, Member Jackson. Minister, you may proceed.
Madam Chair, do I respond
You may
now?
proceed, Minister.
All right. First, in relation to Jamra, it's rehabilitation, so it would not require a capital budget. And at this time, we have completed the fencing, we have done the topographical survey, and we are now into design. You won't see a capital budget for Jamra. It falls within the JNHT and entertainment budget. You would not see a line at Jamaica National Heritage Trust and the entertainment branch. It would fall under entertainment and JNHT. And you wouldn't see a line item for it. It's part of their all right, so you're satisfied, right? Look at 4617. Yes. And the expenditure would right? 46,008 and 46,017. Look at object 25. Okay, we'll go to some of the other questions. The applications come in, it's sent to the SDF. This is in relation to us deciding what courts we would rehabilitate. The Sports Development Foundation will receive applications for sports development, and then the board would meet. They'll determine, based on their cash flow for that period, what projects they will do. let me respond to the question about Sabina Park. Sabina Park is a long-standing problem, and between the Kingston Cricket Club and Jamaica Cricket Association and Sabina Park Holdings, which I understand no longer exist, government has to have discussions with the Jamaica Cricket Association and Kingston Cricket Club as to how we are going to resolve the ownership. That requires a discussion. And I have had a discussion with the Jamaica Cricket Association, and I intend to bring all parties together because Sabina Park is still indebted to government. Government could just go and take it over, but we don't want to do that. We're going to sit with all the stakeholders and parties and see how we can resolve the situation. If you notice, we have ensured that the rehabilitation of Sabina Park has started. New scoreboards, new lights, and we will continue to improve that facility. It's a heritage site, and we will continue to improve the facility. But as government invests in that facility, we will also have to regularize the ownership. The question of who controls the boxes at Sabina Park, that is, there are boxes there that government controls. There are boxes that the Jamaica Cricket Association controls. The whole situation at Sabina Parks need to be regularized. I am aware of it, and I'm engaging in those discussions. Okay? Let's move to gender. The question was, what's in the budget to support access to shelters for victims of violence? Well, in relation to the shelters, we have we have two shelters in operation at this time. The third shelter, there was a delay in putting it into operation because of Melissa. However, that shelter will be also a transition house where those who we protected, that we put in a safe space, once they're stabilized, we will move them into the transition facility until they are able to go back into a normal situation. So, for example, they may not be in a position they can't go back into the abusive situation, but they may not be in a position to go and rent a space. So we will provide them with that space for them to stabilize and then move into the normal, a normal environment. We have what is called a rural we have what is called the rural network of rural women producers, and that network goes right across the island, and they assist in treating with matters in the rural areas that impact on our women. And there is a helpline that they can call. Now, if a woman finds herself in a situation that she needs help, the network is activated and we move her out of danger into a safe place. And during Melissa, or after Melissa, the Bureau Jamaica, where they assisted women who were affected by the hurricane. The budget that would support what we are saying is 4,621. 4,621.
Next, Milo, Bennett question from public bodies and member Crawford's question. The special zones for. Your question was answered. So
No.
just member Crawford now, Minister, in respect of the special zones for entertainment zones.
Let me respond to the Blue Lagoon question. Now, there is a planned rehabilitation program in place for the Blue Lagoon. Scope of work has been done. We have lifeguards in place. The difficulty we have with the Blue Lagoon is that all the land around the Blue Lagoon is privately owned. And the situation that existed was one of disorder. So we had to put a halt to all of that. The Blue Lagoon has reopened under the supervision of the Jamaican National Heritage Trust. I know the issue that has caused some sensitivity is the fact that people cannot just drive down in that little parochial road and create confusion. So the quote-unquote barrier still provides access to the Blue Lagoon. What we have to do, and we are planning, is an overall development where there can be a space where people can be shuttled from that space to the Blue Lagoon to use the facility, rather than having people driving to the area where there's no proper parking. We will be rehabilitating the facilities there. We propose to spend approximately $20 million to repair the dock. We have the proposal, we have the design, and we will, as soon as the funds are identified, do the repairs. We cannot encourage motorized sports in the Blue Lagoon. We can't. And we also have to recognize the sensitivity that exists between the fact that all the land surrounding the Blue Lagoon is privately owned. It's a very sensitive situation, but there is a way that we will have to find a balance between the people having access and the people enjoying and earning from the Blue Lagoon.
Thank you, Minister. Last now is Member Crawford in respect of the entertainment zones.
Okay, now regarding entertainment zones, it is not something that just the ministry can do. It has to be a partnership between the municipalities because it involves planning and it involves approvals. So it is a slow process because of that. We have identified, we have audited venues across the island. We have identified spaces for entertainment zones. And we are in discussion with the municipalities to roll them out, to build them out. But it's not just putting revolves around a space. It's about designing and providing a facility that takes into consideration even sound regulation. And that is why the process has been a little slow. But what I can say is that Jamworld, for example, will be a great facility once we've completed the work that is being done there.
Thank you so much, Minister. Minister, let me say thank you to yourself and your entire team from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. And we would now put head 46,000 pages 1 through 21. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those who didn't get answers to their questions, I'll provide with those answers.
Thank you, Minister. House Speaker.
Madam Chair, we will now take the final ministry for Standing Finance Committee. That's the Ministry of Tourism. Yes, we voted. We're coming to it. The Ministry of Tourism, thank you to the Ministry of Gender, Entertainment, Sports, Culture. I think if we work efficiently, we can be out of here before 11 o'clock. Our future is in our own hands. We suggest to the Minister to be brief in his opening and again remind the questioners to stick to the heads of the questions. The Ministry of Tourism team led by Minister Edmund Bartlett and State Minister Tova Hamilton.
I just going to that quick and I'm striking out this. I don't see why you're going back to 24, 25. That's irrelevant. That is only making two facts. No, man, there is an amendment. Okay.
Please, let's make welcome.
It don't sound like they want to go home. It don't sound like you guys want to go home. Exactly. Chairman, bring the meeting to order now.
Members, please make welcome the team from the Ministry of Tourism.
Thank you.
Please turn to head 70,000 in preparation for questions. Minister Bartlett.
Thank you very much.
Team.
Madam Chair, if I'm allowed. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the opening remarks will be very brief. Indeed, I'd just like to welcome and introduce my new Minister of State, the Honorable Tova Hamilton. And of course, to indicate that her specific responsibility will be for cruise tourism, and she will be also helping me generally which is the training development strategy in my ministry. And she also will be chairing, she'll also be chairing the new strategy committee on local first. Madam Chair, the permanent secretary, Jennifer Griffiths, who has been with me for the better part of 18 years, 14 as minister, and even when I was opposition spokesman, we had the benefit of her wonderful counsel as I moved all over the world to drive tourism, even in opposition. The team is concluded with the Director of Tourism, Donovan White, the Executive Director of TPDCO, and the Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Also the Executive Director of JAMFA, who has responsibility also for cruise and airlift. And Devon House is well represented, and Bath is represented, and that's it. So the ministry, in guiding the Ministry of Finance in the initial discussions on the outturn for the fiscal 26-27, took into account the guidance we got from our partners subsequent to the passage of Hurricane Melissa, and that indication suggested that there would be somewhere of a 75 to 80% recovery in this fiscal. Well, the energy and the ambitions have grown, and the reality now is that we will have all our 33,000 rooms available and active by December of 2026, so that fiscal 26-27 will recover the process. The result of that is a review also of the outturn in terms of visitor arrivals. And we now would like to move for an amendment which the minister will formally put at a later point this evening, so that the narrative on the description of program at head 1700 will now read, 17,000 will now read, the Jamaica Tourist program aims to position Brand Jamaica as a premier destination for both emerging and established markets. In fiscal year 26-27, the gross tourism earnings is projected now at $3.228 billion and would reflect now only a 3% decline from the year 25-26, which was 3.327 billion. This is the amendment that we're reading. This is the amendment to the narrative for 17,000 under the outturns from the tourist board. And so if you look at 17,000/-7, yes, that's 7. For fiscal 26-27, then the total visitor arrival.
The amendments were already circulated to the House of page 17,001.
Yes,
so
the amendment
everyone should have the sheet.
Is expected to fall to 1%. I'm going to say that again for good measure. That the expected arrivals will decline in 26-27 by 1%. Just 1%. And so that figure now will be 3.741 million, and that will be composed 278 stopover arrivals and 1.463 cruise. And that cruise would represent a 14.8% increase over last year. So, the overall position, therefore, Madam Chair, is that we would see what was initially anticipated to have been a fallout of some 6% overall in earnings to now be a fallout of only 3%, and an overall decline in arrivals of only 1%. Thank you. Also, I'd like to indicate by way of outturn that the world-class, world-standard, historic tourism workers' pension scheme in its first 2 years, notwithstanding Melissa and Beryl, stands now at 5.1 billion Jamaican dollars. B with a B.
With a
to
B.
indicate that
With a
members
B.
who have been dislocated in one form or another as a result of Melissa will not be affected at all. And indeed, if it is that members are now forlorn and having to go to other occupations, they can then take that pension arrangement with them wherever they go. So that this is one of the few pension schemes in the entire world where this transferability is allowed. So that the member, notwithstanding changing his occupation within the industry, can take the pension arrangement with him wherever he goes. And that one, I think, stands out. Madam Speaker, the portability of the pension arrangement is unique to Jamaica, as we are the only country in the world that has a comprehensive pension plan for every category of worker within the tourism industry. That being said, I now present the budget for the tourism.
Thank you so much, Minister. Minister will now take questions. First will be Member Purkiss.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Outside of Member Purkiss. Any other
Minister
questions?
and the team, good night. I am just as happy as the Minister that revenue will increase for 2026-2027. I'm happy that your projection has increased. I want you to pay attention, Minister, to page 17,001, Vision and Mission Statement. One of the stated objectives of the Ministry of Tourism is the promotion of local culture. That commitment is enshrined in your policy framework. It is marketed to the world. It is the very soul of Jamaica's brand. Yet on the ground, in the very hotels that this government supports, promotes, and derives revenue from, Jamaican entertainers are being shut out. And I move into my questions, but just a bit of context. Tourists who travel thousands of miles to experience Jamaica's rhythms, its energy, its people, are instead being offered a generic entertainment product they could have found anywhere else in the world. The very Jamaican experience they paid to have is being denied to them. So I put this to you plainly, Minister. Is the ministry aware of the extent to which local entertainers are being systematically excluded from cultural performance opportunities in our major hotel properties? 2, what specific provisions, if any, exist within the licensing partnership or operational agreements between Ministry of Tourism Enhancement Fund and hotel operators to prioritize Jamaican talent on Jamaican soil. And 3, if no such provisions exist, will the minister commit here and now to introducing enforceable cultural content requirements as a condition of doing business in Jamaica's tourism sector so that we stop exporting our tourism dollars while simultaneously erasing the very culture that makes this destination worth visiting? Those are questions.
Really?
So,
They're
For
questions.
Purkiss,
They're questions
you
from.
get a lot of latitude. That's not
So-
quite question.
I thank you for
That's
the
a long
latitude.
preamble.
Thank you.
No, not at all. But giving her space.
so member,
So you're finished
Member-
with Purkiss?
No, I have a number. Let me just I have a number of questions on behalf of the hospitality workers and myself. So I have a number of questions.
So hold on, Minister.
Yes, tonight. I'm going to Hanover after
all right. So member, you
finish, so I too want to go home.
So remember, you developed a nice rose around a concept which has elements of truth and large tissues of misrepresentation. For example, that the absence of Jamaican culture in the hotels is a fallacy. I happen to go and I enjoy powerful Jamaican presentations utilizing all the idiom that we have. Absolutely. Now, if you wanted 7 nights a week of only Jamaican offering, that is unheard of anywhere in tourism because of the nature of the what we call the psychographic profile of the market. We market to people's tastes and their desires. And what we do is to create fusion from time to time so that there's a good mix of local and international offerings. And that is what is present there. In terms of our own responses to ensure that there's a greater percentage of local arrangements at the highest possible quality, we have established an academy, an entertainment academy, where we train DJs. We just graduated some last Sunday at Montego Bay, at the Harmony Beach Bar, and DJ Delano and other local DJs are part of the faculty that help to train these. So we are excited about the prospects of continuing that process through the entertainment.
Thank you,
academy.
Minister.
So in time, we hope
Yes.
that when next you ask the question, you would be able to say that you were part of that process
Thank
of
you,
seeing
Minister.
the graduate of more
But
schools.
when you're in Jamaica and in most hotels you have a Jamaica night, you know, it speaks to
Oh yes, it's a
how
little
much
than
more we
just a
need our
Jamaican
culture
night.
in the hotels.
It's there.
But I'll move on. Pay attention to page 1700 to 9, activity 10159, rehabilitation, maintenance, and report. The description under this program is to develop Jamaica's unique cultural and natural assets. There is a 15.83 increase in the budget. Which roadways earmarked for enhancement? Which attractions have been identified for road rehabilitation? Are the roads to Mayfield Falls, Milk River Spa and Bath Hotel being considered under this program?
Answer yes, absolutely. And Milk River, in fact, we've done several times, and we have to do again because it is subject to the vagaries of the weather. And so we continue to do that. And that's the purpose of that particular allocation in the team.
Yes.
To-
Thank you, Minister. What about Mayfield Falls? I know Mayfield Falls, it's partially closed down because the bridge collapsed in 2022 and they have not received. I'm hoping that
Well,
we can get
look
some
at
help from
Mayfield
TEP.
Falls. We look at Mayfield Falls because Roaring River is the one that is earmarked for this year, but we will look at
Right, and Minister, I have a concern with that, as Mayfield Falls was a popular destination, attraction
I
rather,
know it quite well.
but
I'm from
has
that
gone
part
to
of the
sleep
world.
because the bridge collapsed in 2022. So I'm going to use this opportunity to ask you to pay attention to Mayfield Falls. It is a natural mineral falls, right? Thank you.
Gotten a lot of latitude. We're going to try not to repeat
We
and try to keep the questions tight. Minister, equally, please try to keep the responses tight.
Okay, let me continue to keep it tight. Page 17,000-10, activity 10159 refers to the development of public beaches. Which beaches are slated for development? Can you also inform us of the emerging resort areas of which you speak of?
Okay, so Prairie Beach in St. Anne, Paget in St. Mary, Success Beach in St. James, and these, right. And member, I'm not disputing what you just said, because a lot of time has been spent on the design and the development of this. And now we can say for certainty that these three beaches have completed all that process and will in
Thank
fact
you,
commence
Minister.
construction in this.
Any development around the corner for Old Steamer Beach, which is on the Elegant Corridor between Montego Bay and Negril? It's in Hopewell.
Old Steamer?
Yes. That's between Montego Bay and Negril.
You sure? Is
Is
that the
I'm
Orchard
asking about
Beach?
the
Is that
development.
the Orchard Beach?
Orchard Beach.
Absolutely,
That's
sir.
the
We
name
don't
of
know Old
the.
Steamer, we know Orchard.
Okay. You
It's
see,
on
we're
the
keeping
list.
the product local, Minister.
Orchard is on the list.
We're keeping the product local.
In fact, there are 12 beaches overall on the
Mm.
list, and Orchard is one.
Any plans?
You have any more beach questions? Any more
No,
beach
Madam
questions?
Chair.
If anyone has any more questions re beaches?
I have more questions, but
No,
not
because I'd
related
ask
to
Minister
beach.
to read the list of beaches since he has 12, so we can close. Any questions? Okay, all right. So since the party leader has spoken,
Thank you. Thank you, Juliet. Pay attention to page 17,010.
17.
Activity 117, capacity development, which includes strengthening the craft sector through the Craft Development Institute, which trains persons. However, is there anything in the budget to assist with revitalizing our craft market?
Right. So that wouldn't be in this budget because that's not the remit of tourism. I think that the Ministry of Industry and Commerce under the
Local government.
the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, yes. And the new Minister of State, I notice, have had quite a bit of activation.
Minister, next question.
Thank you, Minister.
So we
Next question,
work together on that.
The minister is still talking.
Next question, member.
Minister
So
is
it's
still
not his
talking.
portfolio ministry. So next question.
Tourism contributes approximately 18.6 to 30% of Jamaica's GDP when including direct and indirect impact. Minister, in reference to page 17,000-8, destination marketing and overseas marketing, the current estimate for 2026-2027 remains the same as 2025-2026. In the gross earnings projected for 2026, it has decreased from 2025-2026 as per page 17,000-7, which is reasonable in light of damages caused by Hurricane Melissa. Considering tourism's significant contribution to GDP, do you believe that this is a realistic estimate to market brand Jamaica and help the sector and in extension the economy rebound over the medium term as suggested on page 17,013?
Are you making a point about the size of the budget?
Yes.
because of how that budget is managed and the efficiencies of our management team, and also the way in which we utilize the various avenues to promote and position Brand Jamaica, we have in every instance seen increases in our earnings as well as arrival, except of course for the problem year like last year. So we anticipate that this budget, which is the same as last year, and in fact we added $1 billion to it last year when we had to deal with Beryl and then Melissa. So that should be adequate to deal with the programs that we have.
Thank you, Minister. I thought with what is happening in other places in the world that we might need to focus a little more or look at different areas, different niche markets.
Right. So let me tell you what has happened is that we've done quite a bit of market diversification within the budgetary allocations for last year. We're now working hard with South America, and South America is showing great energy. We just came out of Colombia and Panama a couple of days ago, Director and myself, and we have 6 new flights that are coming.
Thank you, Minister.
So,
thank you.
So
I'm not speaking about South America because that's an area that we focus on. Things are happening in other areas in the world, and we ought to look at different areas. But I'll continue in lieu of time. Has this budget for Brand Jamaica, and I'm still on the 17,000 to 13, has this budget for Brand Jamaica marketing strategy been formulated to effectively tap into unconventional markets, considering the current geopolitical climate and emerging global conflicts? And what specific initiatives of partnerships are being implemented to increase Jamaica's visibility and appeal in these new markets?
Right. So I just came out of Berlin last night, which is the largest trade market show in Central and Southern Europe.
Thank you, Minister. You need to invite me
you're leaving out
on some of these trips.
Of the world. You're not helping tourism minister of the world. And Jamaica is the best destination in the world.
Madam Chair, thank you for assisting the Minister of Tourism. But I would want to agree with you that destination Jamaica is indeed the best in the world. I would want to agree with that.
No, well, just to guide the member, because she's new to the portfolio, and I quite appreciate that she needs to be guided as best as possible. So member, I'm allowed to say so because of my vintage, if nothing else. So just please, because you remember how helpful I was to you exactly. So just to let you know that we have India, that is immediately on the horizon. We have an agent in India. We're working to tap the Indian market. We have Eastern Europe. We're working with TUI in a very strong partnership to drive Eastern Europe as well as South America.
Thank you.
So
thank you, Minister.
just
I'm
to let
happy
you know that the new and emerging markets are very much in our
Thank you very much. I'm happy to know that TUI will not only be taking us to Jamaica, travelers from England, but they're now moving into India. So I'm excited about that. Minister, behind every 5-star rating, every glowing review, and every record-breaking tourism arrival number, there is a Jamaican worker, a housekeeper, a bartender, groundskeeper, a front desk attendant. These are the men and women whose labor sustains this industry, as mine did, whose hospitality defines our brands, and whose
Member Purkiss.
just a little context, please. I'm
You're having
asking.
too much content with
It's not too much.
This
And
is like a
those who
sectoral
sacrifice on the rights, the billions. I'll wait until you're finished. No, I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm getting to the question.
Member Purkiss. Member Purkiss. Wait, no, Member Perkins. Look here. Member Perkins. Look this way.
All right.
Member Purkiss. Member
Madam
Perkins.
Chair, I'm
Look
waiting
this way.
on the
No,
member.
look this way.
I can't speak when other people are talking.
Member Perkins.
Member Terlong? Madam Chair, I have just a few more questions. I'm going to wrap up soon. Just a few more questions, Madam Chair.
You want an advertisement for that?
Madam Chair, I cannot speak in the noise, so I will wait. I am not going to talk when everybody else is talking, so I will wait.
Okay.
As I was saying,
Yeah.
a housekeeper, a bartender,
No, Perkins.
a groundskeeper, a front desk
Member
attendant.
Perkins. Member
These
Perkins.
are the men and women whose labor sustain this
Member
industry.
Perkins. No,
Madam Chair,
seriously.
let me
No,
move
we're
to the
listening. We're
question.
listening. Go
Seriously.
ahead.
Let me move to the question.
Yeah.
I have some more questions.
No, ask the question
I
about the
have been
workers.
here since 11:30 this morning. I live in Hanover. I too want to go home. But I have a responsibility to represent the people that
Member
work in the
Perkins, just get to
industry
your
that I
question
represent.
here. Get to your
So please, I don't do grandstanding.
No, so
Just allow
so
me.
Member Perkins, we're giving you
Question.
quite a bit of latitude. And Perkins, I'm giving you the latitude.
Let me
I'm
tell
asking
you.
All right, team. I'm
Dash
going.
13.
So Member Perkins.
13. Are
Member
there
Perkins.
currently,
Minister, please ask the question.
where I was going,
I'm
I'm
trying
not
to
even
but
gonna ask
Member
for protection.
Perkins
I'm
is
gonna
allowing
wait.
me to protect her. So Member
Thank you.
Perkins, I'm trying to give you some latitude, Member Perkins, but I have no idea who.
Minister of Water, why don't you come down to Hanover and leave me alone now? Come down to Hanover and help us with the water. Are there currently, Minister, I am gonna speak now in that lieu of the contract workers and all of that. Are there currently any joint policy? Are there any joint policy, Minister, policy initiatives between your ministry and the Ministry of Labor designed to introduce enforceable protections for workers in the tourism sector? And if not, why not? Next question. Will you commit to working towards mandatory employment standards within tourism?
She said it at the beginning. You're not listening.
If you pay attention when I am listing the page, then you will know exactly where I am. Will the minister commit to working towards mandatory employment standards within tourism?
You haven't even read the law.
I'm gonna wait. This is a very important question.
Member Perkins, you finish that question? See me end up switch off your mic.
Members.
You're not finished the question.
Members, please. Please, members, I'd love to answer.
Can you all turn your mics off, please? Can you all turn your mics off? Members, can you all turn your mics off, please?
I have a question.
I'm going back to Member Purkiss.
Minister, will you commit to working towards mandatory employment standards within tourism sector licensing agreements so that hotels seeking to operate and profit in this country, our country, are required as a condition of that privilege to provide fair contracts, job security, and decent working conditions to the Jamaican people they employ? I'm not done yet.
So member,
Don't respond.
member, this is not an emotional exercise. This is business.
I
And,
agree.
and there's something called a labor market arrangement, which responds to two things in my mind: merit and equity. And merit is defined by competence, qualifications, certification, and on the basis of which classification can be had, and then remuneration against classification.
Thank you, Minister.
No.
Thank
I need to make that a little clearer for you, because what we need to do is to professionalize the tourism industry.
Minister, I
Because
understand.
the industry has
Uh-huh.
been built, no,
Mhm.
the industry has been built on
It's not
casual
informal.
labor over the years, and consequently, the difficulty to remunerate has been there. The issue of productivity, and I heard the member from North, yes, mentioning, and correctly so, the difficulty of measuring productivity in our industry as a basis for remuneration. I think we have to get to the point where we understand what this JP government has been doing in the last 10 years in terms of bringing that level of professionalization to the industry. Madam Chair, it is important because it speaks to the heart
Minister,
of the most important element in the tourism industry, the workers, the people of the industry. And I've been committed to that. And this is why we established the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation,
Minister,
which is the
thank
only
you.
of its kind in the region that goes not only to train,
Thank you,
but
Minister.
just listen, but to go into the industry, provide, seek competent workers, and to certify competence so that there can be mobility and portability.
Thank you, Minister. You have said a lot.
Right, members, let me explain something to you. Member Purkiss, let me help you. You cannot shut up the minister when he's speaking, because you ask your questions in a particular way that is allowed. And what is going to happen to you is anybody who goes off doing their own sectoral debate will get a sectoral response.
Exactly.
And therefore, no, and therefore, I have been giving a lot of latitude, and I was trying to get your attention. Allow the member that I was trying to get your attention to gauge how many more questions do you have. No, give me the exact amount. And do they have subparts?
Okay.
Succinct?
Yeah.
Instead of the flurry, just get to the question. And in return, I'm going to ask you to respond.
Yeah.
And again, I'm reminding you, Member Purkiss, as you ask, so you shall get.
Madam Chair.
Right.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let us pay attention to page 17,000. Is the water minister the Minister of Tourism now? Let's pay attention to 17,000 to 12, activity 12502. When examining the budget for the last year, we observed a total of $1,723,109,000 allocated towards several projects under product development. This year, we have seen this figure increase by almost 20%, for a total of $2,061,833,000. What is concerning is that a number of the projects listed on the last fiscal year budget are either incomplete or is yet to begin. How do you justify this increase with with a carryover of certain
That's why you
incomplete
with
projects.
water.
Point of note. Point of note. You know, I didn't drive from this far and cross so many bridges to come for this. Minister, allow me. Point of note, Fort Charlotte, redevelopment phase 2, and the Milk River Spa and Bath. Fort Charlotte redevelopment phase 2, for which $5 million was allocated, and Milk River Spa and Bath Hotel with an allocation of $50 million shows no significant signs of development. Can you comment on the status of any of the listed projects with focus on the two aforementioned? If your investigation have led you to discover the incompletion of the majority of these projects, what steps will be taken to address this and also ensure this does not repeat itself this year with the increase in budget?
Well, firstly, you would recognize that the budget cycle
She can read it too.
is represented by members. Please, this is a very important question because
Focus on St. Mary.
thank you. This will allow us now to have a regular monthly resort maintenance.
Thank you, Minister. We welcome that. We really want the elegant corridor between Montego Bay and Negril to look like other places in the Caribbean.
And that's what
My
this
final
increase is
question, page 17,000-11. Why is it that you are reducing the expenditure on local supply chain while seeking to market an authentic Jamaican experience?
No, actually, I think what you're seeing there, remember now, this is about increasing the programs around building capacity for locals to be inserted in the value chain of tourism. But that particular line item is one of the items related to this. The other one is a bigger arrangement where the Exim Bank has over $1 billion Jamaican dollars for that purpose to be on lend to small stakeholders to increase their own capacity to produce more and to scale up. Then there's also a provision at the commercial bank, Jamaica National, for on lending again, and it's over $200 million that's there for on lending to transport operators, small transport operators. So that particular line may be reduced because of what is entailed in it. It's more training and development. But the lines that you have to look at essentially are the ones that drive the actual on lending process. The small players to have capacity to expand their operation and to do more. Yes, that's why it's sitting phase 2.
Thank you. I'm recognized, Chair.
Minister, who do you recognize, Madam Chair?
Minister's mic is not on.
Ministers can't ask other ministers.
Collective responsibility in cabinet.
Member Noel, two red.
Madam Chair, who do you recognize?
One of the red has to be green.
Members?
Chair, am I? What activity is that, Chair? Chair, am I recognized?
Right.
No, I'm waiting on the chair.
Members,
Chair.
Minister,
members, I think two members,
more than two. Minister, so you have more than two. So this segment will take all the questions and your team will document the questions asked. If there are questions that require any element of research, they will do their research quietly and they will provide the information for you so that you're able to respond very quickly to all the questions. And you can take any question from the batch of questions in responding while efficiently the research is done for those that may need additional information. So first up is Member Shaw from
Thank you very much.
St. Thomas, and then Member Wilson.
members,
Member Newell.
allow us to finish. So
Member Newell. Yes. He's not the spokesperson. And then member, and then no, not Member Purkiss, and then Member Millerben.
Chairman, can I go ahead?
Yes, you may go ahead. The mic, you're recognized. You will be last.
Minister, I pay homage to experience. And I know that you're experienced in the job. I was sent here by the people of Eastern St. Thomas. Minister, the Morant Bay Heritage District. Will this be on a phase basis? I see an allocation here for $20 million.
the $20 million is really for
Minister,
the bath.
no, Minister. So
Oh, I'm
is that
sorry.
your only question, Member Shaw? Is that your only question?
No, I have another question. As it relates to the Bath Fountain Road, Minister, I heard you mention, no, it's not. It's National Works Agency. No. You're talking, Minister, the Parish Council Road was renovated. For your information, Minister,
Member Montague,
Chair,
Member Montague. Allow Member Shaw to complete
it is the road that leads to Bath, the main road.
the main road to Bath.
Yes.
So those are your two questions, Member Shaw.
Another question, there's another question I have.
The minister will respond to say whether it's a parochial road or not.
Minister, I am aware that
Member
don't
Shaw,
remind me of
just
the
get,
document.
Member Shaw, please just get to the question.
Minister, the license speech. I know that a considerable amount of funding was spent on license speech. And I just need to find out what is the problem with license speech as it stands now.
Turn off. Yours no. No, hold on. Go on, yes. You're on now?
Thank you.
No, hold on. Turn on again, please. Good. No, don't turn on any bank's member Buchanan. You had question separate from Member Shaw? I thought it was one mic on, sorry about that. Hold on, I'll acknowledge you and then you turn on.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, I'm very heartened by your announcement that the Paji Beach development will go through this year. And I think on behalf of every resident there, we're excited about the potential that will bring. The last activity 10159 speaks to emerging resort area support and development. I know the last time you were in Robbins Bay, I saw an article where you spoke about how beautiful the place was naturally. And I want to know whether you have plans for not just Paji, but a place where Bobby has been has not been to in a long time. Islington, which has tremendous cultural tourism potential, and Robbins Bay in terms of your development of emerging resort area support. Just to, because spending $400 million or thereabouts in Paji will create just a whole heap of opportunities in the community. So how do we ensure we capitalize on that?
Any other question, Member Newell?
No, that's it.
Thank you, Member Newell. Next is Member Cousins.
Thank you, Chairman. And I want to listen keenly.
Member Miller
I want
Bennett,
to direct your
turn your
attention
mic
to
off, please.
page 17,001, 10, sorry,
Turn off it.
activity 10159, resort town squatter settlement. And there's an allocation there for $120 million. As it relates to that particular activity, what is being proposed in terms of your approach to this resort town squatter settlement? Is it that you're going to acquire property, or is it that you're going to improve infrastructure within those squatter settlements? That's it.
Next, Member Buchanan, turn your mic on, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Minister, pointing you to page 1712. It's in relation to activity 12502, which mentions the Rio Grande Rafters Rest and Berrydale Redevelopment Phase 2. It is attached to activity 10159, and it speaks to road to attractions. The question I'm asking, if there is considerations to improving the road network in conjunction with 1708, which speaks about the marketing, destination and marketing, the tourism product of Portland Eastern, whether or not it will be included this time, and whether the relaxing of the licensing rules for the hoteliers and the other Airbnbs, if there will be a relaxing of the licensing mechanisms, the rules, to include it with the advertising of the attraction. And lastly, the Blue Lagoon as a product. How are you treating with that, Minister? Thank you.
Sorry, member.
No, Minister, hold on.
No, just I want him to
Repeat.
and perhaps rephrase.
Turn your mic back on. Member Buchanan, turn your mic back on.
Just members. Just
Minister,
allow
hear
us
something very well.
to be fair to each other. The member from Portland East has phrased the question a particular way, and it probably will give me a little challenge to respond to it. So I want it to be clear as to what he's talking about in terms of the license and
the ability to advertise. So there are destinations.
You mean unlicensed?
Unlicensed, but they are relaxing the rules to allow the unlicensed persons to participate. To be licensed, but also to participate.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Which is an unfortunate question, I must say. Because
Minister, don't answer yet. Don't answer yet, Minister. Next is Member Miller Bennett.
Minister, my question is about the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation. I'm curious to find out why wouldn't you utilize HEART, given HEART and has such a wide network. Why wouldn't you use HEART, or rather, why don't you leverage that existing the reach that HEART has, just to avoid, whether or not there's coordination or how would this center complement HEART? So that's one of my questions. The next one is, I'm going to pick up on Cousin's squatter settlement reference, and I'm going to be direct. This program, does it intend to regularize or relocate the squatters, or eventual ownership arrangements, going to eventual ownership arrangement with these residents in the segment, and which agency, if that's whichever you decide, which agency of government you think would be responsible for that. Then my next question for you is the convention center. That's under activity 17,008. This minister indicate the current annual utilization rate of the Montego Bay Convention Center, particularly with respect to overseas conferences, meetings, and incentive travel events, and whether or not the ministry is subsidizing the operations of the convention center, or whether or not you have plans to improve international bookings and improve the center's financial sustainability. And my final question, this one is dear to my heart. In Western Hanover in particular, there's an expansion in hotels and rooms, and what we're seeing is persons needing accommodation, places to live. I think Princess has set a trend to provide accommodation for his workers. But my question is whether or not there's a policy to ensure that workers have place to live. And could you also indicate what coordination exists between the Ministry of Tourism, housing and agencies to ensure tourism growth does not lead to increase in informal settlements or squatter communities due to lack of affordable housing, and whether the government's policy regarding the housing, whether or not there's a policy or you plan to have a policy with respect to this. No, we talked about that already. We talked about the
Minister.
So,
Minister,
thank you,
hold your horses,
Chair,
Minister. You
Chair.
have one more before you last member Crawford.
Linstead Market is an attraction, and we want our road. Minister, you made some recent changes, so I just need to confirm that the most recent normal year would have been 2024-2025, for which there was a earning of 4.3 billion US dollars. I think you indicated that 2025-2026 for this particular year as it relates to seat risk. I heard you speak about 6 coming from Panama and 20 coming from India, 19 coming from Iran. Which of these seats are you eyeing for seat support, and what is the expected extent time ministry subsidy through seat support to re-establish those gateways? I also wanted to understand if it would not have been a good idea to re-engage some of our original gateways, having lost some arrivals since 2024-2025 due to the risk perceived from the hurricanes and the shutdown from the hurricanes. If some seat support wouldn't have been appropriate into some of those established destinations. Finally, Minister, I wanted to speak on the item that was titled Hurricane Recovery. You had $3.9 billion in 25-26. However, you had zero in 2026-2027. Is that an indicator that you perceive that the recovery has ended? And additionally, is that also an indicator that those workers that are still displaced would have no further assistance coming from the ministry since there's no budget for this particular period. So those are my questions.
All right.
100%.
Thank you, member. You may now proceed in responding, after which we will take the head.
Right. So thank you.
We have the numbers. We
Thank
are
you, Chair.
smart to it.
Thank
We
you,
have the
Chair.
numbers. We have the numbers as well. We have the numbers.
Yeah? Okay, Chairman. Chairman, it's a lot of questions, and I urge members to allow minimum of interruption so we could finish these 16 questions, please. Thank you. Because they are very important questions. Starting with the last one first in good accounting terms, LIFO. So the disposal of workers and what provision there is in terms of the Melissa support initiative that we have. The initiatives are in relation to recovery, and it is intended to enable recovery through housing support and also some level of care packages. The discussions that we're having with the hotel owners and the attractions is that the rate of recovery now has been accelerated. And whilst we were expecting that we would be going into next year, all the hotels essentially will be ready and operating by December of this year. All the hotels have indicated a level of support for the workers while they are either on furlough or otherwise disengaged. And it ranges from 50% salary to 70% salary, working 3 days a week in some instances, and that the work would cover primarily training, and some of the training would be in-house, as well as the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation assisting with virtual training. The arrangements also indicate in some instances where care packages will continue by some of the hotels. So the government is working along with the private sector in this regard, as all of the arrangements since Melissa has been around public-private engagement, government and the private sector. So this is not to say every single worker will be covered in the process. I wish it were so, but substantially the workers are being taken care of. There are some who have been absorbed in the construction and repair work that is currently going on as well. So in the main, the recovery has not left the workers behind on what was provided from the Melissa grant, okay, which if you notice was $3.3 billion overall. So funds would have been big. Okay. Seat support. Now, firstly, I know you are aware that seat support is essentially to enable the opening of new markets and also to provide for gateways that are not properly served by legacy carriers. So there are a number of such gateways that we have been working with out of the UK, the Latin American area, in Canada, new gateways from Canada, Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Spain. Now, these arrangements are related to a time period. The seat support is usually for a number of what we call rotations. And these rotations may last perhaps for one season, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, and then they may be repeated. But there is not an unlimited repeat period, because what you have is what you call scheduled charters. And then the scheduled charters in time become legacy. So that's how the system works. And so it varies, because for example, in the case of Copa, when we started Copa doing resort to Montego Bay, within 6 months we were out of the woods with them because the response was so strong. When I started JetBlue, similarly, and JetBlue then announced that we were the first destination that within 6 months they were increasing their rotations from 3 to 5 flights for the week. So it all depends on how quickly you move. But in the main, I think a year cycle is about what we regard as reasonable. Now, the oil prices, yes, that's a concern. As a concern, the big advantage for us is that our legacy markets are within an hour and a half, 3 hours, and so the pain of that experience might be reduced simply because of the distance between us in terms of strong market. The US, for example, has 70% of your market. Canada, these are close by. Now, if we were drawing heavily from Europe and other distant areas, the concern would be greater. But I just want you to appreciate that anything that means increased price of fuel impacts travel. And so we have to be mindful of that, and we will work. Okay, now in terms of the losses that you indicated based on the revenue projections. Firstly, I know you understand numbers very well, but base numbers, base years are important to consider. So we measure year over year, not 2 years. So the first year of 24-26, which was a strong year for us, for $4.3 billion overall, and then 25-26 got impacted by Beryl and Melissa, and you're down to 1 billion, as you say. Now, what has happened now is that over next year, you are only down by 100,000 now from Beryl's year, right? So that's fine because you're measuring on a year over year. Now, no, but norm year wasn't 23. 23-24 was mega year because that was the highest point of the recovery since COVID. So yes, and then you projected that you would grow beyond that. But growth cannot be measured in this way. Growth has to be measured against a period. So and in our sense, it's a year over year. It's not 2 years or 3 years. It's a year over year. And so the growth here is 25 over 26 and 26 over 25, as the case might be. So this does not then represent a decline. What this represents is recovery, as you can see here, because of what happened with the hurricane. When the hurricane hit, we were at zero. So you really started from zero, moving up, and you saw the V-shaped recovery. And zero arrivals. In other words, we woke up one morning and there was no tourists at any of the airports. But years are not measured by years, they start with months. So you have to work month by month to get to your year. All right. So you could do day by day, you could go minute by minute. Okay, fine. But just to make you understand and appreciate that when you go to the highest you have ever been and disruption comes, that's how our industry operates. You then have to pick up from that point and to grow further. So we consider this as growth, recovery. And you bear in mind this one. 25, 26 over 24, 25, the reduction was 23.4%. You were down. This projection now is you're down 3%. That's growth. That's growth. No, but you is that you're showing recovery. And that's how we measure it. We should. And then you would appreciate the difference between growth, reduction, and recovery. Now, as for the housing policy, I think that the squad upgrading, that 120 million, is to complete a particular scheme that we started a few years ago involving 535 families in a brownfield area in St. James, right opposite the Iberia Star, where you have all the constellation of hotels there, right? And that has enabled titles to be given to 535 householders, proper roads, proper water system, proper electricity. And that's a model. We work with the Housing Agency of Jamaica to do that, and we're going to move from there to other places, because the whole idea of regularizing informal settlements within the tourism space. And later in my budget presentation, you'll hear more about the concept of creating these tourism innovation townships to have full integration of tourism activities through the hotels with the communities that are across the road from them. So the convention center, we subsidize the convention center, as you know. The amount that is here is a budgeting. The marketing for the convention center has grown phenomenally. I must say, since the tourism ministry took over from SMG, the foreign company that was, the center has reversed its losses and are doing extremely well at this time. And I want to use the opportunity here to give credit to the new GM, Maureen James, for the tremendous work that she's done over the period to bring back that center and to make it so. In fact, we just won 2 great awards in Berlin for the performance of the convention center that you might have seen. Okay, the next one is the JCTI. Now, the JCTI, the difference with HART deals with entry levels into the industry and also some secondary levels of late. What JCI does is to certify competence primarily. That is to say, we go into the hotels and we find cooks who have been there, great cooks, competent cooks, helping all the sous chefs that they bring from Austria and everywhere, but cannot move up to become a sous chef. So we go in there with the American Hotel and Lodging Institute and the American Culinary Foundation, top class. What I'm saying, no. This is a different. Heart does it in the generality of things. What we are saying is that we are linking you now to international accreditation institutions in tourism, so that, and I think you should listen to this carefully, so that you have 2 things. One, mobility within your organization. And we just did executive sous chefs. 5 we just graduated who are at Ziva and Zilara. 5 beautiful ladies who are now executive sous chefs. Heart doesn't do that. It will take you to that level, right? And so what it offers secondly is portability. So now you can leave Jamaica and go anywhere in the world with your American Hotel and Lodging Institute certificate, well recognized, your American Culinary Foundation certificate. So that's the power of the development that we are making in terms of the human capital of the tourism industry. The last one is, right, so we now go to Portland. To infuse the unlicensed into the market and region by relaxing the rule. A dangerous precedent. And I think that the member will rethink that question at a later date. The next one was for Berrydale. Yes, we are going to be fixing Berrydale probably, and the the ecosystem around is also being taken into consideration. All right. No, we did. The one more I think was Robbins Bay. Yes. Bear with me for my budget presentation. Because there's a team out of the UK that's talking about some development that will excite you. So bear with me on that one. All right? Okay. License beach, that's a small issue. So we have a problem with the concessionaire. And I think there was some difficulty there when we were trying to upgrade and some difficulty. So we're working that, and we will have conversation with you, member, in the process. The Heritage District, it's really 20 million to give you a first-class botanical garden in Bath. And that's what that is about, okay? Okay, we've covered everybody. The housing for the workers in Hanover. Now, this is good news for you because we have a policy around housing for the tourism workers. And it relates to all investments coming into the country now of 500 rooms or more must have a housing component for the workers of the industry. And for your benefit, Palladium, that is now doing earthworks for 1008 luxury rooms, will add 600 rooms for the workers of the area. So it's happening all around. Just wanted to know. Okay?
Thank you so much. It is with great pleasure that we put the head for tourism. I don't hear the number yet. Head 17,000. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. And that concludes the deliberations over the individual heads. We're gonna do that next. So Minister of Finance will take it from here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the members have before them amendments to the following documents. The estimates of expenditure 2026-27 for the financial year ending March 31, 2027. The Jamaica Public Bodies estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ending March 2027. Consolidated estimates of expenditure 2026-27. The revenue estimates 2026-2027. And the Government of Jamaica fiscal paper for the financial year 2026-2027. I ask that the amendments be approved.
The question is that the amendments before the committee be approved. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. I put the estimates of expenditure 2026-2027 for the financial year ending March 31st, 2027. The Jamaica Public Bodies estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ending March 2027. The public sector consolidated estimates of expenditure for 2026-2027, the revenue estimates 2026-2027, the Government of Jamaica fiscal policy paper for the financial year ending 2026-2027 as amended. Again, I put the tax expenditure statement 2026, the Jamaica Mortgage Bank estimates of revenue and expenditure ended March 2027, the Government of Jamaica medium-term debt management strategy for the financial year 2026-2027 to the financial year 2029-30 as printed. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. the report of the Standing Finance Committee of the whole House of Representatives on the estimates of expenditure 2026-2027 for the financial year ended March 31st, 2027. The Jamaica Public Bodies estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ended March 2027. The tax expenditure statement 2026. The Jamaica Mortgage Bank estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ended March 2027, the Government of Jamaica Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy for the financial year 2026-2027 to the financial year 2029-2030, the Public Sector Consolidated Estimates of Expenditure 2026-2027, the Revenue Estimates 2026-2027, and the Government of Jamaica Fiscal Policy Paper for the financial year 2026-2027 is before me. Is it the wish of the committee that I sign it? Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The meeting of this Standing Finance Committee now stands adjourned. House Leader, the time being now 11:55. It
Thank
is
you,
5 minutes
Chair.
before.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the members, and see you next week.